Hello everybody, welcome. It is August 1st and I am here to talk to you about my stitching beginning today. Well, the first thing I'll talk about is something that I fully finished last night. I mentioned in my previous video that I was going to go and look at my frames that I had purchased at a resale shop. This is a little shop here in town called Restore, and it's to benefit Habitat for Humanity. And they have all of their picture frames on sale every day for $5, or at least they did for a long time. And I got one of these there. So it was a perfect fit for Santa's house. Came with the mat. It actually came with a double mat, and I had to take the second mat out because, believe it or not, it covered up the white border where the little white border is going around. So I might have preferred to get something that was silver or gray if I was gonna frame it professionally, but I had this beautiful deep brown and the gold with the golden brown, beading around it, and those deer are brown and the door is brown and the post is brown. And I felt there was enough brown in there that it went okay. And sometimes I want to use what I have in stash, and this is what I had in stash. So I framed it last night. So there is a fully finished for you. Now, today started August stitching. So there are acrostics to begin. There's my private bingo game to play. And so there's a lot going on. So today I wanted to stitch not only my bingo call, but then I also wanted to stitch the final prompt in a daily 30 group challenge that I had contributed, and it was a needlework and embroidery challenge. So I started out this morning with my bingo call. And my bingo call was to stitch on my coastal holiday. So when I started on this, I had one of the little bath changing houses stitched. And today I stitched the second little house. It was a total of 166 stitches to complete that little house. And I only needed 100. So that worked out just fine. So I got this second little house done. Then I had started this, by the way, for the prompt in the daily 30 group where you had to stitch on something that had two of something, and I started the house then because this was going to be the second of the two houses. And then when I had the call on my bingo game today, I pulled it back out and finished the house. That's what the 166 stitches gave me. So then I decided I wanted to work on the finishing up the prompt in the daily 30 group. And that prompt was to stitch on either your whip with the most number of colors or the one that had the most different shapes in it. So I did tell you I thought I might change and do spring Quaker, and I did. I've been wanting to get my hands on it again simply because I hadn't touched it, in a month, and I wanted to keep going with it. So when you saw it last, I had come across here and I had done this little motif right up here. And so today I did this motif. So let me show you what it looks like in person. These colors are beautiful. So this is the motif that I did today. And that was a total of 216 stitches, and I needed a minimum of 200. So this is the beautiful spring Quaker. I did start in the top left corner, and right now I'm just working my way all the way across so that I can have the width of it done. So I finished that motif. But doing so, it started my acrostic stitching. So I am thrilled to tell you what all I accomplished today stitching those two projects. So in my monthly magazine challenge group, one of the, the acrostic is hang glide. If you're doing the long one, you can do glide or you can do hang glide, and I chose to do hang glide. So my H in hang glide stands for hands-on design, and my hands-on design that I had identified was Coastal Christmas, which was the one I did for my bingo game. So I was able to count that for my magazine challenge, and I have posted it in the group. So now I've gotten my first letter of hang glide done. Then in my 24 hours of cross stitch, that acrostic is support local. And the O in support stood for one motif in spring Quaker, which I did today. So I finished the whole motif and I got that done. Then the O in local, for support local, stood for hands-on designs coastal holiday. So I got to double dip that one. I got to count it for both because they're two different Facebook groups. So that for me is the way to do it. You know, I try to set it up that I touch almost all my whips, if not all my whips, when I do my acrostics. And I've shown you this before. I just put them down the margin or the side, and then I write out which ones that I'm gonna do that for. I used to put them in a big chart and put X's by them so I could at a glance see quickly which one would hit 3, which one would hit 2, which one, you know, and I would do the heavier ones first. But once I started playing bingo and I put all the same things on my bingo board, it's just easier to do them when it's called. And that means I don't need that whole board to tell me which one has 3 or which one will meet 2, because I'm just going to do it when it's called and it'll meet however many it meets. And so I don't have to put that big spreadsheet together anymore. I just put it in list, and then I've got my list and I'm good to go. So there you have it. So there's my fully finished framed piece from last night and my 2 stitching pieces from today. So I've had a great day of stitching. I had my friend Juliana over today to go stitching, to stitch with me, and then we went shopping. We went out for lunch real quick and we ran by Hobby Lobby and found some neat things on the clearance sections. We hit a couple of clearance sections and some sale sections. And I got some little treats for my table mates at my next retreat that I picked up. And I got some charms that I want to use in my finishing, and just a few little things, to use in my cross stitching. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And then we came back here and we continued stitching. We had a rainstorm and Juliana just stayed through the rainstorm. It blew over pretty quickly, and then she headed on home. But it was a wonderful day. So then I popped leftovers in the oven for myself for dinner because I'm here tonight by myself. My husband has driven out of town. Our son is coming for a visit, and we had his car, having some work done on his car, and so it's all ready for him to pick up now. And so my husband's gone to get him, and he's going to spend the weekend with us, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to see him. I don't know if I can convince him to do a video with me or not, but if I can, I will. I will ask him. So it depends on how busy he and my husband are. So that's all of my stitching to share with you tonight, and I think that was a good day's worth of progress. I love hitting more than one letter in an acrostic in a day, so I feel very accomplished today. I'm gonna go now and cuddle with Coco. She's missing her dad a lot, and she's been very clingy this evening since he's left. So I'm gonna go love on her a little bit, and then I will be back stitching tomorrow. It'll take my husband and son about 5 hours to get here tomorrow, and that's after my son gets off work if he gets called in. He's on call, And so if they need him, he'll have to go in, and then they can't leave to come here until after he gets off work. But he's hoping, he's got his fingers crossed that he doesn't get called in, because he's the third one on the list. He's the third one down. We'll see. So keeping my fingers crossed that I get to see him for the whole half a day instead of barely in the evening. But either way, it'll be great to see him. Okay, you guys have a wonderful start to your week, and especially the first of the month here. And I can't wait to see what all you accomplish with your stitching in the month of August. And you know I'll share mine with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. It is Friday, August the 2nd, and I have had a fabulous morning already today. My son was able to avoid being called into work this morning, which was great. And so he and his dad jumped in the car and headed this way about 8:45 this morning. So while they were traveling to get here to meet me for lunch, I got my stitching done for the day. I started on my bingo call this morning, which was the number that was called for me was my whip go call. And the whip go call that I had that I could do anything with this month was my December quilt by Paula Vaughan. This is what it looks like. This is the one that's December. You know I'm doing that for my friend Cheryl because of the little Raggedy Ann doll. Well, it was my whip go call. It was my bingo call. So for bingo, I stitched 141 stitches, stopped and posted for bingo. And then I kept going because I knew I needed 300 for whip go. Well, as it so happened, I got 309 stitches, and I went and marked my whip go as completed. I also checked, and I had used the December quilt in my daily 30 acrostic, which is August heat, for the T, and I used it for the train that's here, right there. I used it in 24 hours of cross stitch, and in that acrostic, I used it for one of the P's in Support Local, and that was for Paula Vaughan, the designer. In the Magazine Monthly Challenge group, the acrostic is Hang Glide, and so for the D in Glide, I used it for the name of the pattern, which is December Quilt. So if you're keeping track, that is a bingo game challenge met, my whip go is completed, and 3 acrostics, 5 challenges with 1 stitching. I think that's a record for me. I've hit 3 before. I don't know that I've ever hit 5, but if I have, I've forgotten. So I was pretty excited about that today. So let me show you. In total, I wound up getting 499 what I call stitches. I actually had a lot more than that. I had double that because these are all half stitches. And I do 2 half stitches to count for 1 stitch always. And so let me show you what that got me. I finished all of the flowers that are in the wallpaper on this side of the little wall sampler that's in the picture here. And then I came in with the background color and completed all the background. That is completely done now, all the way over to here. And so the next time I pick it up, I can do the other side, and then that will be the whole top portion down to the quilt, which will be really, really good. I'm tickled to have gotten that much accomplished because that's just a big chunk, and it's stuff that's, you know, you have to count really carefully all in here. It's all uneven and kind of just fading into the background there, so it's not smooth. You have to do a lot of counting, and because they're half stitches, you have to do a lot of stitching to get the stitches you need. So I think while I'm in the mode of doing half stitches and in these colors, I'll just go ahead and do the other side next if I remember that, but that's my idea right now. And then I can start working. I can roll it down a little more, and I can start working more on that railing and the quilt top and just come on down this way. which will be awesome. So that is my stitching so far today. That may be all I get, primarily because my son is here visiting for the weekend. By the way, this is in the Paula Vaughan's Quilts for All Seasons. I know that Taryn is starting one every month, and I know that JC Marie has done a couple of these, and I think she may have another one on the go right now that she's working on. But I'm just intending, as of now, I'm just intending to do the one in December for my friend Cheryl because of the Raggedy Ann that's in it. This is the picture on the inside that may be the largest one available for you to see. So pretty. So, it's time now I can put this away and I can stitch on something else. My son and husband got here in time for a late lunch, which we did, and now they've gone off together to get, both of them needed a haircut, and so they're gone to get their haircuts. And then probably after when my son gets back, he will go downstairs where all of his personal belongings that he hasn't moved yet to his new home are still in our basement, and I think he's going to go through all of that while he's here and see how much he can load up in his car that he wants, you know, to take with him. It's mainly his books, his electronics, like his computer and gaming systems and things like that, and also his art supplies. I don't know how much room he has in his duplex that he lives in now, but you know, he can take as much as he wants with him, whatever his car will hold. But I think he'll be working on that this weekend and going through it and getting all that kind of sorted and take home with him what he wants that's important. And then we can decide, you know, he can decide if he wants us to keep more of it and bring it the next time we come, or just what he wants to do. But I'm excited that he's here. It was so sweet. I wanted to film Coco greeting him, and I didn't get there quick enough because they came up so quiet. I didn't know they were here. And all of a sudden, she took off running and barking, and I realized that it was time that they were probably here. And I grabbed my camera, and I went running down the stairs, and they were already loving on her outside the front door. So my husband described it for me, though, and he said she came running out, kind of barking, and then she stopped, and she just looked at Jeremy, and she ran over, and she greeted JT before she ever greeted my husband. And she twirled and twirled and twirled and, you know, bumped into him, wanting him to pet her, and which he did, of course. And then she went and greeted my husband and then went right back to Jeremy. And when I came to the door and she saw me, she ran up to me, jumped on me like, "Mama, they're here," and ran right back to our son. She has missed him. The funny thing is, this morning I told her he was coming. And I would say, you know, a whole sentence like, "Coco, Bubba's coming today." And she was just looking at me like, whatever, you know. And so I jokingly told my son on the phone while they were traveling, I said, "I told Coco you were coming home today to see her, and she doesn't believe me." So then I decided, oh, you know, puppies really learn a word rather than sentences. And so I just said his name. I just said Bubba. She knows him as Bubba. And I said, Bubba's coming home. Bubba, Bubba. And I said it several times, and all of a sudden it clicked with her. She went running downstairs, barking at the window, like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And I had to tell her later. She knows the word later. And I had to tell her that, and she just slunk off. It was so sad, and it was so special. So I'm really tickled that she greeted him the way she did, because it tickled him. It really tickled him that she hadn't forgotten him and that she was crazy that he was here. And she has followed him around, much like she does my husband when he's been gone a while. So when my son is here, he's her preference, and when he's not, my hubby is, and then when he's not, I will do. That we know where we stand in the pecking order. Anyway, it's going to be a lovely weekend. I don't know how much I will get to video or because I don't know how much I'll get to stitch. I did ask my son if he would be willing to do a video with me, because people have asked how he's doing and they've missed him. And he does have a Lego that he put together before he moved, and it's still here, and he's never shown it. And so I've asked him if he would share that with you and just chat with you a bit. And he said he would. So I hope we can find time to do that, because I think it would be great for you guys to see him and hear from him how he's doing. So we'll try for that, okay? All right, I am going to put this away. I do have a little time while they're getting their hair cut, so I may very well pick up something else that I want to stitch on, or I might just do some planning, myself. So we shall see. My friend Juliana left me a whole stack of patterns and kits and things to go through this morning, or yesterday. I went through them this morning for our giveaway table or raffle table at our stitching meetup. And so I am tickled to death to say that she had some really neat things in there. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with our members on Saturday, the 10th. Will be wonderful. All right, I think that's all the news for now. I'm going to get busy and listen out for my son and my husband to get here. So in the meantime, you guys, until I can check with you again, happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is Saturday, August the 3rd, and I'm here to let you know I was able to get some stitching done today. Our son has been down in the basement this morning going through the remainder of his packed up belongings and sorting them and getting them ready to pack up in his car. And then when he finishes that, he'll be gaming just a little bit before we have lunch. So I came up here this morning while he was busy, and I got my stitching in for my bingo game and more. So let me tell you about it. My bingo call this morning was for summer treats. I went back to a mixed board for bingo and put some whips of choice on it, and then others I named specifically so I'll be able to touch them again this month, because I didn't get to touch them last month because of my Christmas focus. So summer treats, I did a little over 100 stitches and posted it for my bingo game, and I just kept going. And I could hear my son down there working, and so I just kept stitching. So today I wound up getting a total of 362 stitches in it. So the magic number being 300, because I used it in my daily 30 acrostic for August heat, and I used it for the T in heat. So for summer treats, the T in treats. So here's what 362 stitches got me, and I hope you can see the white on this pretty pale blue. But I got the pole stitched, I got the top of the freezer stitched, and I got the words ice cream stitched right there. There's a light blue top that I may have to go back and back stitch. It's not called to be back stitched, but you can't see it. It's the same color as my fabric, and it won't have another color on the other side of it. So I may wind up having to back stitch that little bit right there, but I'm just going to keep stitching on it for a while and see, how I feel. But as you can tell, I'm trying to do the back stitch as I go. So there's my 362 stitches. My daily 30 prompt is met. My bingo is met. And then I checked, and I had also used it for the 24 hours of cross stitch. That is support local, and I had used it for the S at the beginning of the word for summer treats. So I again got to hit multiple prompts with the one stitching, and I loved it. And it just happened to be what was called today. So that's what I'm trying to do this month as I go through my bingo game, is whenever a particular whip is called on bingo, if it's used for an acrostic, I'm trying to stitch enough to meet whatever those requirements are so that I pull it out just the one time, and I've met my prompts. And then once I finish all my prompt stitching for the month, I tend to go back and pick up something close to a finish and try to push it toward a finish. That's kind of been my pattern. Anyway, I'm delighted I got this one done. I didn't expect to get this much stitching done today, but I had wasn't aware exactly when my son was going to want to go down and sort through all of his belongings and pack everything, get ready, to put it in his car. So that gave me some time this morning. My husband went for a run bright and early since he knew my son was going to work in his boxes today. And then I believe we're going to go out for lunch together. My son and I are cooking together for dinner tonight. And then this afternoon, my son and my husband have some business things to take care of for my son, and they'll be doing that. So if that allows me time to slip away, I may get to stitch a little more. So if I do, I'll come back and share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It is August the 4th, and I have a special guest. I was really excited when JT agreed that he would film a little segment with me today before he heads back home. So why don't we start with where is back home now?
So back home now is Statesboro, Georgia. It's by Savannah. It's like 40 minutes from Savannah. So.
And is it hot?
It's humid. It's hot. I mean, it's very humid. The other day it was 93 degrees. The dog is knocking the table.
Yeah, Coco won't leave him alone.
Yeah, it was like 93 degrees, but I think with the humidity it felt like 112, 115, something like that.
Oh, that's hot.
It's hot.
That's very hot. Okay, so what are you doing there? You working?
Working there, changing careers. I don't know. Thinking about going back to school. I don't know. Just trying something new in life.
Yeah. Well, you spent 20 years in the healthcare.
20
plus
years in healthcare. Kind of got over the healthcare.
Well,
so,
yeah, the on-call was rough. This is the funny story. JT said, he's really given enough time of his evenings and weekends, and he wanted a change of pace, and he went back to work at a Chick-fil-A, which he had worked at in high school. Not the same one, but for the company.
I did.
And then what did they tell you?
I don't know if other Chick-fil-A's do this, but they do call.
So you didn't get out of call.
And so, yeah, well,
it's a different kind of call.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's not like an all-day, 24 hours or all-weekend thing. It's just kind of the mornings from 6. You call them at 6, and then they let you know if they need to come in or not. Mm-hmm. That's about it. So it's not that bad. But
not that bad, yeah.
Definitely not a forever job. Just gives me some kind of employment when I'm in Statesboro figuring out
what you want to do next.
What I want to do next.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, before Jeremy moved, I had mentioned a long time ago that he had completed another one of his Lego projects, and I asked him if he would share it with you today.
Oh, it's pretty easy. So I like the Legos that are kind of like art pieces. I guess they're all kind of art pieces, but less toys. Mm-hmm. So this is the little bonsai tree.
Isn't that cute?
Has a little
stand.
So
a little tray it sits on.
I don't know.
You'll have to lift it. They can't. There you go.
So
cute.
So I like those. I have a lot of other ones too, I guess. But
yeah.
I like them more for the art. Like the ones I like now are like the paintings. They have the paintings
that look like a painting.
They're famous pieces of art or famous paintings that you put together. You can hang them on the wall. And stuff,
have you got your eye on one?
Oh, there's a few. The one I'm probably gonna get next is the cheaper
of the next sets.
Yeah. These things can be a little expensive, but it's just outer space paintings.
Okay.
So it's like a set of 4.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, JT has been visiting this weekend, and it's going to be his birthday coming up, so we're excited that we got to spend some time together. We gave him a very grown-up gift for his birthday. We put new tires on his car.
It's very, very grown-up, but very needed. Very appreciated gift.
And I didn't get a Lego set, but I got you new tires, so make sure he's safe and sound.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
prefer the tires.
Prefer the tires. Yeah. At this point, prefer the tires.
Yeah.
So now you're leaving today to go back home. How long will it take you to get back home?
4 hours.
4 hours.
Like
yeah. You drive fast. It takes us about 5.
It took Dad 4 hours
To
the
get
other day
here.
to get here. So it'd probably take me 4 hours.
Yeah, to get home.
I don't know.
You take your time. You're not in a big
I've got
rush.
My car's going to be kind of heavy because I picked up all the stuff from storage here.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too fast.
Yeah, you have to
It'd be
take
harder
it
to slow
kinda slow.
down. A lot of
Jeremy, you picked up your art supplies.
weight. Most of my art supplies, all my books.
And books. He had a lot of books, y'all. A lot of books. He likes to read. So a lot of heavy books. So your car will be sitting low on the ground.
Yeah.
No big bumps when you go home. Anyway, well, I just wanted you guys to see JT. He has been on a journey, a weight loss journey, for a couple of years now. He had surgery
3
years ago. Almost. It was in August, wasn't it?
Oh, it was in August.
2
I'm not
years
sure
ago.
if it's 2 or 3. Probably 2.
I think it's just been 2.
2 years. We're going to say
And-
2 years.
Yeah. And now Jeremy has the distinct, I guess, accomplishment of having lost more weight than he weighs currently.
Yeah. I have.
So you're doing great then, and you bike ride a lot.
Bike ride almost every day now. I used to bike ride 4 or 5 times a week. Now I pretty much do it every day.
Every day to work, back home, anywhere you go
Yes,
socially.
yeah, Statesboro is a small town. The whole town is probably like 15 miles. I don't know.
Not far.
So it's easy just to ride around everywhere. Yeah. So
Saves gas. Wear and tear on the car.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Well, I think that you seem to be doing great there. You seem very happy, and you've got friends there. And so I think that's a good move for you. I'm glad for you. But we were really glad to have him home this weekend. So I just wanted him to get to say hi. So many of you have asked, where he is, and I've let you know that he moved. So when he came to visit, I said, you got to get on the YouTube with me and say hello. Okay, so the next time you get another big Lego set completed and you come visit, you have to bring it with you so we can show it.
all right.
Thanks for letting us say hi, and I hope you're doing well. And I hope, of course, that you are stitching. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is August the 5th, and it's a Monday, and I'm here to talk with you about my stitching. Well, my bingo call this morning was to stitch on a whip closest to a finish. And I had started my berry for the month, which was this one, the 12 Drummers Drumming. And I had gotten probably the first 3 drummers stitched in the middle, and I had done some of the holly leaves around it, but I still had a long way to go. I had stitched on it a couple of times, actually, I think, before I saw the call for this morning. So I looked at it this morning and I thought, well, if I work on it really hard, I might could finish it by the end of the day. And I did. These are my 12 Drummers Drumming. I think they're lovely, and I especially like them on the blue fabric because they have the beautiful blue shirts on, the blue uniform shirts. And this finishes the berries on this blue fabric. So the next time I have a berry to do next month, I go on to my third and final piece of fabric, which is a beautiful gray fabric. And so I have to do, I think it's 6, 7, and 8 and number 10 that are on that gray. And since there's only one left in this pattern, which is 10, I very well may start on it first. We'll see. I may want to break from having to stitch so many of one thing, but I will tell you what I did this time. I did the 3 in the middle down here. I did I started with their hats, and then I went up and did the boots because they were in the same color, and then I stopped there. And then I came down here and I finished those 3 soldiers. I did the same color on all 3 until I finished all 3 of them. And then I did the heart and the holly around them until I got to people on the side and above. And since I had done the boots all the way around, the next thing to do were the pants, and I did those all the way around, and then I did the drum all the way around. So once I got these 3 done and all the little itty bits in between, I was color completing on the rest of the 12, which was great, the other 9. So I did that all the way up, every color all the way up. And then when I did the back stitching, I did the back stitching all the way around in every color. So that helped me to finish the 12 drummers a little bit better than doing one at a time, which I had done when I did the, I think I did 11. Piper's Piping was one of the ones I did so many of on that green fabric, and it seemed to take me forever, and I think that was why. So this worked better for me. So while I've got that technique in mind, I might do the 10 first in the month of September. Anyway, so that was this morning, and then I left this morning to go stitch with a friend this afternoon, late morning, afternoon-ish. And then when I got home this afternoon, I continued stitching, and I decided to take with me my Stitcher's Days of Christmas, because once I get close to a finish, you know, I can't stand it. And I had finished that motif, and the next one to do were the 2 sewing birds. And I had started it this morning as soon as I finished my 12 drummers. So I had it started a little bit when I went, and I stitched on it at my friend Juliana's house. And then tonight I had a Zoom call, and so while I was Zooming this evening, I finished it. So I finished that motif. Now the motif that's left, all that's left to finish this whole thing is this section right down here, which is this box of, you know, heavy confetti stitching for all of the floss, and then the words and that at the bottom. That'll take me several sessions, I'm sure, but I have this on my bingo call, and I have it on a cross sticks. So when it's called for bingo, I'll work on it really hard and see if I can't finish it. We shall see. But just to give you a view of it, this is how it's looking. It's going to be a bell pull. It's long. But these are the Stitcher's Days of Christmas. And there you go. That's where we've gotten to. I think it's beautiful. I really love these colors and the way they pop on this fabric. I say that every time, but it is, to me, it's quite stunning. Now, I did something different too. You might be able to tell. I used leftover beads for the pin heads. So I've done all the back stitching on this, and I've also put the beads on for the pins, because I know I'll be able to move my Q-snap past it. I won't be catching it in my Q-snap. I haven't gone back and put the buttons in at the top yet, but I will maybe the next time I work on it. So that was the bulk of my stitching today, those 2 things. So a finish, yay, my berry is done for the month, and then a motif, a big motif finished on my Stitcher's Days of Christmas. So that one looks pretty good that I could finish it by the end of the year without too much trouble, which would be great. So while I was still Zooming, I finished that before our Zoom call was over, and so I knew we were only going to be Zooming for probably maybe another half hour or so, maybe maybe an hour at the most. So I decided to pull out some gift stitching to finish up my Zoom call. So sister, I'm going to have to ask you to look away if you're watching. Thank you for doing that. So this is the piece that I'm working on for my sister Stephanie. And so tonight I pulled it out to finish up that Zoom call, and I got all of these yellow things done, and this dark purple up here, and one strand of this color, which is going to be the bulk of the body. Now I got a question from a viewer. I was trying to see if that helped you. I think it pops a little more if I've got something behind it. I had a question from a viewer recently about this very thing, and it was that the color on the pattern cover, the part that I had stitched, looked like it was this color purple, but when you saw it on here, it looked blue. It is purple. This is the blue. It's just a different color than what looks like in the picture. It's a little bit different. Not terribly different. Now you can almost see that they do look alike. I think it was just how it was showing in the light or something. But I had wondered about the color, and I had double checked the color, so I'm pretty sure it's the right color. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. I put in 133 stitches in it tonight. Wasn't for a prompt. However, I do believe it's in a couple of across sticks, and I'm going to go look now and find out, because if it is, and they don't require minimum number of stitches, I think 133 is good enough that I could actually call it that I've met the prompt. And so I'll look and see if I need to do anything with that. I have been working on a challenge, and I can do, I actually could do 300 stitches in a whip that's special, and this would be special because it's for my sister. So I may pull this back out and work on it again for that prompt, because I have until, I think the 10th or so. No, it's longer than that. I've got 2 weeks that I can work on it. So I will probably pull it out again and maybe use it for that whip that is special, and that'll complete that prompt. So we shall see what I get to work on. So Stephanie, you can look back. I think that's it as far as the stitching. I had a great day today stitching with my friend Juliana, and then stitching on my Zoom call tonight. Tomorrow, I do not have a Zoom call. I don't have anywhere I have to go. So I am tickled that I don't, because tomorrow I may be doing some running around, getting some things for the Emporium. We have our big kickoff party coming up in just about a week. Yeah. And so I need to feel like I've gotten most of my shopping done. So I'm hoping to do that. Anyway, thanks for letting me share all my stitching with you. I heard from our son Sunday evening. He got home safe and sound. I haven't heard from him since then to see how his day went at work, because I knew he had an early morning. But I have an early morning tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. Coco has given up and gone to bed already. But tomorrow, I will tell you, my little bingo call is for Miss Christmas Eve. So I need to put in at least 100 stitches into her tomorrow. And she's also in some other prompts. I think I'm going to have to put in 300 stitches in her to make those other prompts, which will be perfect. So I will probably do that, meet those prompts with her, and then I may get back to my gift stitching. So I'm loving it. I think it's fun, and I need to be working on it. So I want to do that as often as I can. All right, I'm going to say goodnight and tell you I hope that you are enjoying your stitching. And until we are able to talk again, happy stitching, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Today is Tuesday. It is the 6th of August. Had to look. I am about to leave here and meet a friend for lunch today. But this morning, I was able to get some stitching in. My husband's off on a hike, and I took Coco on a wonderful walk this morning, and then I came home and I stitched. So I worked on my bingo call, which was Miss Christmas Eve. I mentioned that in my last segment. But I also had utilized Miss Christmas Eve for one of my acrostics, and that was for my monthly magazine challenge group. That acrostic is Hang Glide, and I used Miss Christmas Eve for the E in Hang Glide. So I went ahead and continued stitching on Miss Christmas Eve simply because after my 100 stitches, I think I stopped around 114 and took a picture and posted it in bingo. I just wanted to keep working on this piece. I wanted to get at least 300 stitches in it. I was thinking I might have used it for my acrostic that requires 300 stitches, and I originally had, and then I changed my mind on it. So that's why it was in my head that I needed 300 stitches. But I really wanted to make a significant impact on the piece, and 350 stitches I felt like at least made a little bit of a difference. It may look similar to you because it's all in that dark green, but let me tell you what I did. I did a different color of green other than this to begin with, and I finished all the green little tentacles out like here up till I got about right here. And then I came in here and I started working on this dark green, and I have brought this dark green down all the way across. I'm just working my way all the way across here, back and forth, back and forth. I came down here. This actually is right up in here. It's down as far as it's going to go. This will go further beginning here, and it'll keep going across. But I actually completed the dark green right in here. So I'm excited about that. But this is just a lot of stitching. But isn't she beautiful? I don't know if you've seen Gary and Ronnie's most recent video from the Garage Stitchery, but Gary did this same pattern, but he converted it to Halloween. And he changed out, he explained not color for color because he didn't have all the colors he needed to do that, but he changed it enough to make it in oranges and dark greens and blacks, and it's quite Halloween. So what I was amazed at was that Gary started working on it in the month of July, and he's already finished it. But he worked on it, I think, pretty monogamously, and so that helps a lot. I do my whips on a rotation. You know, I let my bingo call when I do them, or I call when I do them for acrostics, but I try to touch them all. Try to put a significant amount of time on each one, at least, 200-300 stitches if I can. And then when I get really close to a finish, I become monogamous on it until it's done. So that's kind of how it works for me. But I'm loving her. She's beautiful, and I'm enjoying working on her. So there you have it, Miss Christmas Eve. Now, my plans are, when I get home, to work on my gift stitching, because I only have 130 stitches in it of the 300 I need for my daily 30 prompt for my acrostic in there. I need 300 for that one, and so I want to put the additional 150 or so, 70 maybe stitches in there to finish that prompt, so that I can mark that letter completed in the acrostic. So we'll see how much stitching I get done the rest of the day. But that is my goal for this afternoon. After I get back from lunch with my friend, I'm going to pull out my gift stitching and I'm going to at least finish the acrostic. Whether I do another 300 stitches for that prompt is yet to be seen, but I will definitely meet it somehow. Whether I could go back and use the 350 stitches I just completed in Miss Christmas Eve, because she is special, because Christmas is my favorite holiday. So I could make that happen. We shall see. Anyway, have a great day, and if I get substantial enough stitching to meet a prompt, I'll come back and tell you about it later. But in the meantime, happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is Thursday, August the 8th, and I'm here to tell you about my stitching from yesterday. I stitched late into the night last night, and I didn't want to video that late because I didn't want to wake up my husband by talking, and he can hear me if he's in the bed because it's right downstairs, and close to the bedroom to when I come down my stairs. So out of concern for not waking him up, I didn't want to talk. So I waited till this morning. He is now on a hike. He's trying to prepare to see if he can get in shape enough to go back and hike another section of the AT trail in the near future. So I had a little time this morning, and I wanted to go ahead and let you know what I accomplished yesterday. So yesterday's bingo call, which is how I try to start out my day every day, was for Liberty Notes. And this is what that looks like. It is from Shepherd's Bush. I think it is adorable. And I have the button pack to go with it, so I'm excited about that. I'm stitching this on a Picture This Plus called Fog. It's 32 count Lugana, so it's going to be nice and small. And I actually put in 125 stitches on this piece because I needed 100. And I wound up doing all of this back stitching of the vine and the lettering. So I counted 2 back stitches to make 1 cross stitch. So I've actually stitched 250 single back stitches, but I count my stitches that way. So I divided it by 2, and I got 125. And that was enough. I met the prompt. And I went ahead and put it away because I was eager to start a new start. As you know, I have a small group of ladies that gets together to stitch on occasion. Most recently, instead of stitching, we made those beautiful tote bags. But while we were together in June for that time, we decided that we would pick a Halloween small to stitch. And I want to show you where I got mine from. We all got it out of this book, the Halloween issue. 2024 special collector's issue from Just Cross Stitch. This is what it looks like. And each of us picked an item that we wanted to stitch, make into a small of some sort. And we will stitch one. We will fully finish it the way we like to fully finish it. And then we will kit up one for the other 4 of us in the group, like we did our Christmas ornaments. So I want to show you what I picked. And this isn't a big surprise. We all know what each other picked. We did it together. I picked this, and I felt like one of them was too small. So I'm doing Newt Eye, and I'm doing Frog Bones, and I'm going to put them both on a larger jar, one on one side and one clear around the opposite side. And I have a great idea on how I want to fully finish it. So I found the most beautiful fabric that I thought would do great for my Halloween piece. And I had it cut and serged for each person. So this is a 32 count Lugana, and it's in the colorway of Harvest Pumpkin. And this is a 9x9 square. And I have enough for everybody to have one. So, I have to have this ready and fully finished by early October, because we're going to get together again for a stitching weekend at the lake where we all started the first time and called ourselves the Lake House Stitchers. So to have mine ready in time, I needed to get started because I have 2 to do. So I got the first one done yesterday, and that's why I stitched so late into the night. So there is Newt eyes. I think that is so cute. So cute. Those even look like little eyeballs. And I only had to change one color. So it called for an orange that was, I believe, not 720. Yes, it was. And it was the exact color of the fabric. You couldn't see it at all. So I went into my stash and I started looking at other oranges, and I decided to get a little bit darker color, and I chose 919. And that's what I have stitched. These little eyes, the outer portion of the eyes. And it also is a highlighting stitch all around the lettering. You may not be able to see that because it's a single strand, but that does really well on here. And so I have substituted the 919 for the 720. And when I kit this up for my friends, I will make sure I include 919 and not 720, and I'll let them know why. So now what I'm going to do, I'll stitch the other one over here before I cut them apart, because this is barely large enough to fit in my smallest Q-snap. But when I stitch the second one, then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get on my sewing machine and put thread as close to this color as I have. And I'm going to stitch all the way around, just maybe 1 or 2 threads, not far, maybe a few, 3 threads around here with a sewing machine. And then I'm going to cut out around there, and I'm going to fringe it. And then that I will put onto my finishing, and I'll show that to you when I get it done. I'll probably film it and save it, the fully finished piece, until after it's gifted, because that part is a surprise. Except for my friend Donna. She was with me when I figured out what I was going to do and bought the supplies, so I think she has an idea, but the rest of them don't know, and I want to keep it a surprise. So that's what I'm going to do. So yesterday I had a start and a finish on Newt Eyes, which is going to become a Halloween label. And then I can do the second one, which are frog bones, as soon as I have an opportunity to do that. And I will be looking for a chance to do that. I don't know if it'll be today, because today I have a call from my bingo to stitch on my largest whip. Now, I have to decide, am I going to consider Hawk Run Hollow my largest whip, or am I going to consider Let Love Rain my largest whip? I have them both in my daily 30 acrostic, so I have to do 300 stitches on them, no matter which one I pick. But I do have Let Love Rain in my other acrostics as well, so I'm kind of leaning toward that one. But I think I'm going to pull out their patterns and just see how big they are, and see if one of them really is a lot bigger than the other. If they're about the same size, I'll just pick the one I want. But I'm going to do that here in a minute, and then I'll get started on it, and I have to put in at least 300 stitches in it today. So those are my plans, and I hope that I get a lot of stitching done, and then I can come back this evening and share it with you. Welcome back. It is later on August the 8th, and I did pull out my Hawk Run Hollow and my Let Love Rain patterns, and looking at the stitch count for the width and the length, well, my Hawk Run Hollow is bigger. It's so much longer. So I decided I would do it as my largest whip, because it is actually my largest whip. So this is spring at Hog Run Hollow, and I am working on this square, this block right here. And when I started on it, I had the words done right in this top corner, and that was all. So today, I needed 300 stitches. I did my 100 for my bingo, and then I needed 300 stitches total for my acrostic in my daily 30 group. So I just kept stitching. And then as I got along, I realized I could finish this bird. So I did. And I wound up with 573 stitches in this today. So there's the bird. Now I will tell you, that's not the color he is in the pattern. This bird's color for his body is this color right here. It's the exact color. And unlike these rabbits who have light colors over here and they're surrounded by other colors so you can see them, this bird is not surrounded by anything. So I had to look in my stash. I found a darker version of that that's very similar to the darker version in his wing. His wing is even slightly darker than his body, but they go together quite well, I think. And no, he doesn't have feet because there's a branch here and you can't see feet on the branch. It's just the branch. And you don't see, well, I guess you do. There are feet underneath him. But I thought they were part of the branch. So anyway, I will get those when I do the branch. But 573 stitches. And now I probably would guess that that is more than a third done, maybe a little more than a third done, because I do have another bird to do up here and a whole lot more language in here. This bird's body is supposed to be quite pale, but as I said, I couldn't do it the color it's called for. As you can see, it's quite light, and when I pulled it, it was the color of my fabric. My fabric is lighter than this one. So that's my progress on Hog Run Hollow. It is on my bingo game. Again, it's actually on there for the name Hog Run Hollow, but so was my Let Love Rain. So it didn't behoove me to do one more than the other, so I just went ahead and did which one was actually the largest so that it met the intent of the space. So there you go. And then this afternoon, I don't know whether I'll get to stitch any more or not, but I hope that I do. But if not, I've certainly had a good productive day so far. Anyway, thanks for letting me share it with you. If I have more to share later, I'll be back. I'll hope in the meantime that you're enjoying everything you're working on. So happy stitching, everybody. What is it? Is that your new toy? All right, get it, girl, get it. Aunt Donna gave you that. Aunt Donna gave you that, yeah. Is it chasing you? Is it chasing you? It squeaked. Did you make it squeak? Oh, oh. It's squeaking too. And you're gonna have that tail off within the hour. Hey, 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 what are you doing? Hey, Coco, what you doing? Is that your new toy? Can you tell Aunt Donna thank you? Well, it didn't take Coco long to figure out where to start chewing on the toy. Look at her using those incisors as scissors. Coco, You're going to tear it up too quick.